I decided not to put together like a formal presentation or a PowerPoint or those kind of things. The reason being is I think that there's a lot of intelligence and knowledge in this room and current experience of what's going on in the market today. So my hope today was to make this more of a mastermind kind of format where we're dialoguing about the challenges, the opportunities, and then even the objections that we're getting, and then how people are overcoming those. Haley, she was here. She disappeared. She's also put together some information too. So we're going to break this into two parts. The first part, we're going to talk about really how to get buyers off the fence, how to have those conversations to get buyers motivated, to really tune into those motivations. And then the second piece we're going to go through is the really kind of getting through the buyer to sign the agency agreement, where they're understanding that there's an obligation for you as an agent to get paid and how to overcome those objections, those pushbacks. So depending on who I talk to some agents, they're like, this is a huge problem. And I talk to some agents and they say, I'm not having a problem with this at all, right? And so not one's right or wrong, but we're going to talk about those challenges and overcome those. So we're going to do the best we can to kind of break it into two parts. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. All right. So first off, I'm going to start with this slide here. This slide. The wheelie board. Okay. So first off, like when we talk about like the real estate market, I want to start off by asking yourself, what do you think of the real estate market right now? Is it good? Is it bad?
Right.
Well, honestly, so why do you say it's great? Sure.
I think there's always opportunity for buying or selling in any market.
Well, what specifically about this market?
I think for buyers right now, it's an opportunity because we have the most inventory available than we've seen in 11 years. So less competition.
Yeah.
Fairer pricing. More negotiations on repairs.
Fairer pricing?
Better pricing.
Negotiations? Yep.
Interest rates just dropped again.
Did they?
Incentives from sellers and lenders.
It was
What
still
are the rates today? What are the rates today?
They were 7.01 yesterday.
What are they? So that's up. That's.
That was down. It was 7.02.
I mean, the Fed rate dropped, but I think the mortgage rates didn't move. Yeah, I think they were. What else? Let me ask you again. When I asked you how you felt, how do you personally feel about the market right now? Be honest. What did your brain say about the market?
It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah. I feel like October, the last couple of weeks, has got better than it was in August and September.
Was the market better in 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about why it was. Well, hold on.
It was better for some and not for others.
Okay, for those of you that felt it was better, thank you, Tyson. For those of you that felt it was better, why in your brain do you believe 2021 was better than today?
Interest rates were a lot lower.
Interest rates were lower? Yeah. Okay. Why else?
The bidding ended and you had a house or you didn't.
Go ahead.
The bidding ended fast and you either had a house or you didn't.
Yeah.
So the results were quicker. Like the answers were. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
Sellers were more motivated to sell at the right price.
Really? The sellers were they more motivated, or were they just happy because the market was appreciating faster than their knowledge? But did their motivation? Did that well, maybe they were more acceptable, but I don't think their motivations changed. Like if you're getting relocated, did your motivation change? It's just they were just easier to accept the price. Yeah, easier.
What part of 2021 are we talking about?
The buyer or seller price.
About the beginning or?
Beginning of the end.
Okay, what sucked about 2021?
Low inventory.
Which meant?
Higher prices.
Higher prices.
It's hard to work with buyers.
Well, but realistically, Yeah, there's lower inventory. Let's handle that one first. What was the struggle about the low inventory?
We were bidding on the competition was everywhere.
Competition was.
Yeah. Lack of selection, right?
Mhm.
Like my wife bought a Lexus in 2020 and 2021. There was literally two in Colorado, right? It was like, you can have white or silver, right? So low,
Which one did you pick?
white.
Okay.
And she paid a premium on it, right? So low inventory means less selection, bidding up, right? How many people had buyers that just could not compete no matter how hard they tried
We got a lot
because,
of capital and money.
yeah, right? They couldn't even have access to the market, right? So bidding up,
They couldn't cite fast enough to be in the game. There are people
Yeah.
who just
Almost too picky.
couldn't, they just couldn't process at that pace, the necessary pace.
now, when we read these, any of us get that little gut feeling like, oh, that sucked. That sucked. What was the most offer somebody wrote in that period of time on a house?
100,000 over list, and it was a cash offer.
I mean, that wrote, how many offers did you write
For one
before?
buyer.
Yeah, for one
We
buyer.
had an agent
I
that.
had an agent that wrote 20.
20 offers.
20.
That's about.
How efficient is that? How efficient is that? Quicker seller? That wasn't fun. How about as an investor? Was 2021 a good time to buy as an investor?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you have the capital to do it, you're getting the interest rate and you're saving, well,
What if you had to sell today? Was it a good time to buy in 2021? Have you ever heard of the speculator spike? So in stocks, when a stock hits the market, the initial investors get in pre-market, it hits the market, what happens to the stock price? Shoots up, and then what? Drops. That's the speculator spike. That's what happened in 2021. We saw speculators, people were buying just on the sheer fact of appreciation. It doesn't matter what you pay, it's going up 14% a year. Just get in now. How many of us told that to our buyers? You want to list those houses today?
Nope.
No. The house on that market right now, the Dallas they bought in 2022, we're priced under what they paid. And we're not getting showings. Okay.
That was mine.
Yeah, that's,
That was mine in Aurora.
That's yours in Aurora. So was 2021 a good time to buy? You bought high. Is that a good time?
No.
Can I say something though?
Sometimes.
It's so relative, because it's better to buy than to rent almost every time if you can afford to pay it. Because real estate's a long game.
Well, here's my bigger question. How many of you are not having success right now because your belief is 2021 was a better time than today? I don't think it was. Sophia and I were selling solar in 2021 because we didn't like the market. We were like, this sucks, because we're value buyers. We're like thinking about investment. We deal with motivated clients. This sucked for us. This sucked. This is gold. This market is where it'll change lives. It'll change your life.
I know that today's topic is getting buyers off the fence. I have a listing just very similar to what you two just said. I did the 14 days to sold method. We're coming up on 16 days and I'm like,
Okay, but this class is called Getting Buyers Off the Fence.
it's a great time for buyers. Like it is an awesome time for buyers.
We have 2 other classes recorded you can watch.
great.
So here's the thing. I was at another team meeting yesterday, another Keller Williams office team meeting. It was like a funeral. It was like sitting there and they're talking about the market. And they're like, I literally texted Brian because Brian Smith was with me. And I was like, if this was my belief, I would get out of real estate. I would literally get out of real estate if that was my belief. I did, because I didn't like it because my belief was this market sucks. This is gold, guys. If you think about the opportunities of this market that are opposite of these opportunities here. Think about this, low inventory. Now we have lots of inventory. Bidding up. What are we doing now?
Sitting down.
Bidding down. Access, right? Access to, what was that? Access to, I don't remember what that was. Oh,
Fast decision.
faster decision, yeah. So now you got time to make a decision. You can come back to a property, the seller doesn't take your offer. You can circle back to them 2 weeks later and
Or
go,
they come back to you.
they come back to you.
Rates were low, now they're high.
Okay, so let's take that into consideration. Your offer, you said in 2021, you had an offer that bid up 100,000.
Correct.
Okay, so the interest rate there was 3.5%. At 550,000 at 3.5%, the payment's $3,500. You add 100,000 to that, that's $750 more. So now we're at $4,250 on the payment. Okay? Today, the rate is higher, same purchase price at 7%, your payment is the same money. So argue with me that you had a better deal here than you have here. Also, with lower interest rates, guess what? With lower interest rates, you don't get to write off your interest. It's less write-off.
That's true.
Right? So here you have a greater write-off. So give me another argument. Tell me again why 2021 is better.
I can't.
It's not.
It's not.
Guess what? Anybody who could fog a mirror could sell a house here.
I was just gonna say, I think it's just easier.
It's just easier.
Yeah. Lazy
Make
agents.
it work for it.
Those of us with skills and experience got shelved, right, Kevin? We're sitting on the shelf.
Part of my life, man.
Yeah. We're like that. We're like in Cars. Remember the movie Cars?
Oh.
We're the one guy in the garage all covered with dust. The Hudson Hornet. We were Hornets, dusty in the garage. Now, skills matter. Understanding of the market matters. Finding the opportunities of the market matter. This means you, in this market, you can outperform the other agents. Here, it didn't matter. Right? Like, you got a sign? Can you put it in the MLS? I don't need you. Now you need somebody with experience that's going to work through the problems. Tell me another reason why 21 was better.
Psychology of the buyers was more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're stupid buyers.
No.
The buyers were dumber.
Nope.
They were.
I feel like the money was flowing a lot better in 2021 versus now.
I think like,
More transactions, right? Fold, Kevin, fold. We're gonna teach you all how to fold
I
in
think
here.
people were misinformed and uneducated. I have this argument, not argument, but any of you follow me on Facebook, this is something that I try to post as often as possible, try to educate people. A lot of people think that holding out to have a better rate or whatnot, or moving fast to have a better rate is better because they're saving monthly, but they're not taking into consideration everything else that they're doing to screw themselves, like paying $50,000 appraisal gaps. That's
As
additional.
is.
As is, waiving everything.
No inspection.
Just here's all my money, just give me the key.
Stupid buyers. That's stupid, people.
So we have stupid buyers.
That was what was the market. It was a stupid market.
Well, is it the buyer or is it the agent not educating their client?
Yes.
this is how I feel about however you want to look at today or versus 2021, is that whatever challenge that you're going to go through is going to make you a better agent. I can tell you 2021 made me an awesome buyer's agent. We got to the come to Jesus moment super quick, like, hey, you got beat out 5 times. What's going on?
Okay, here's my argument to that. Every agent I talked to that had success in 2021 thinks they were a genius. It wasn't you.
Genius, but
It wasn't you.
okay.
It was the market. Genius is here. You perform here, you get a prize. You get a medal. You cross the finish line here, everybody got a medal.
Everyone, yeah.
Participation awards.
This is right. You just showed up. This is the difference. And as I'm sitting in that meeting yesterday, and this is why I'm like so passionate right now about this, as I'm sitting in that meeting yesterday, there was a bunch of agents wishing for this, waiting. When it comes back to here, then if I survive. Or I had 2 people come to me and they were like, I'm going to get out. I'm going to get a job. And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to make $2 million. And I'm not kidding. Like, this is gonna be the opportunity to fund my retirement. That's the opportunity we're walking into.
We're with you, Sean. We're gonna try to do the same.
No try.
Okay. So let's tie this to the buyers now, because I think we pounded that enough. Do you agree? I'm asking you to change your belief that the market is worse today than it was, because it's the best it is going to be in our near future. We're going to go through the best market for you to become wealthy. Wealthy. You can fund your retirement in the next 4 years. I'm not kidding. Right? This is the market we're going through. So market cycles, right? Now we think about a market like this as a cycle, but it really doesn't look like this. It looks like this. Okay? And volume of transactions during up times, there's lots of volume of sales, and then it slows down and sales slow. And then there's lots of volume of sales, and then it slows. Okay? But it's always slowly going up at 4%, right? If you look at over time, 4, 4.4, maybe 5 in some markets. It's like a bicycle wheel going up a hill, okay? It's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, it's gonna go up, okay? Get it? Here's where we're at, guys. We're stepping into a market that's going this way. It's not a question. It's happening right now, okay? It's happening right now. Now, here's the point that Gary Keller made. Real estate was forced into a recession earlier than the economy. Is that fair? We were forced into a recession earlier because they forced rates up, okay? That pushed real estate values, flattened them out. Now, inflation's stabilizing. I'm not saying it's coming down, but it's stabilizing. Housing values are falling, which is the greatest impact on affordability in America is housing. They're not going to let it crash, so they're going to slowly start to force rates down slowly, and the real estate market will come out first as the rest of the economy slows. Okay? What that means is we're going to start making money as things continue to get cheaper. Okay? That creates this amazing opportunity to buy. Okay? For us to buy, to us teach other people how to invest. How many of you have clients with jobs? How many of them want to retire someday? Oh, that's good. Do you want to retire someday? Okay, how about we invest in real estate? We teach them how to invest in real estate too. And we start talking to them about the benefits of buying in a down market versus buying in an up market. Do you want to buy stocks when they're high or low? Who wants to buy Bitcoin right now? $75?
2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I sold mine at 7,500. I was like, ooh, I'm out. Woo, I made my money.
That's exactly right.
Right? Do you want to buy now that it's peaking, or do you want to wait till it corrects? Because it will. You want to wait till real estate has a cycle. 14 years. It's typically 5 to 7 years up. I'm sorry, 7 to 10 years up, 5 to 7 years down. Okay? Up, down, up, down. That's the swings. Okay?
Said 7 to, it was 10 years up and then what?
It's 7 years, or it's 14 years typical, usually 7 to 10 up, and then cycles down. I say this to say, all this to say, the opportunities that are hitting the market right now, right in front of your face, are once in a lifetime opportunities. Literally once in a lifetime.
Can you give an example?
Okay, so
Maybe
I just
once every 14-year opportunities.
once every 14 year. Well, but those opportunities change. Like what happened in 2006, right? We had 80-20 loans. Montbello was the #1 highest foreclosure zip code in the United States. While everybody else was fleeing, I bought 21 houses in Montbello with no money out of my pocket. Literally made like $5 million. Okay, not kidding. While everybody else was fleeing away from Montbello prior to the recession, I bought like crazy. Okay, and I have friends that bought like crazy that are multimillionaires today because they got in. Now they didn't get divorced. They didn't go through the other things I went through. So these are the kind of opportunities. So those opportunities, to your point, yes, they show up every 14 years, but they're different. Here's what's unique about today's opportunity. House values peaked in 21. They dropped over, or 22, they dropped over 2-year period. Now the values are kind of about the same, and the loan amounts are high, and there's assumable mortgages. I just got approved on my VA assumable yesterday. $6,000 out of pocket.
What do you mean? You're not in the service.
Don't have to be about it.
Wait a second. I have a VA assumable right now on a listing and you have to be owner occupied.
No, you don't. You do not have to be. It's up to the seller
Okay.
if they want to give up their assumable, their VA benefits. Here's my point. There's massive opportunity out there. Today's the best market. The next, I would say 18 to 24 months is going to be the best real estate market that you're going to see for 20 years. And you can either believe that and take advantage of it and teach your clients how to take advantage of it and help yourself and help them make wealth, or you're going to miss it. And you're going to look back in the rearview mirror and go, damn, I really dropped the ball.
Jason Murray says, I believe.
I believe. No kidding. $6,000 out of pocket for a property that payment's $2,200 and it'll rent at about $1,100 to $1,200. So yeah, I'm gonna probably pay to own it. It's kind of a free house, guys. Kind of a free house. I don't know how many free houses you've been given in your life. I grew up in a trailer park, so my houses came with wheels. So this is pretty cool. I'm like buzzing with excitement. These aren't the only opportunities. Owner carrybacks are going on, right?
How many of you have seen offers like that on your listings?
I've seen a few.
Yeah. These are huge opportunities. I mean, I know right now we have listings in the office that are sitting that your sellers would look at an owner carry offer because it's better for them to do an owner carry than have their house sit vacant for the next 3 years. Some of these houses will sit vacant for 3 years where they're priced.
What is owner carry?
It's where instead of going to the bank and getting a loan, they carry the note for the buyer.
Oh, wow.
So is it less credit qualifying usually?
It's whatever the seller is willing to take. There's no qualifying. It's a seller and a buyer.
Like paid rent to own kind of?
Depends on how you do it. There's different ways to do it. It's not always. Sub two is
No,
not.
subject to, there's an existing mortgage. Owner carry, there's no existing mortgage. But here's the point. Subject to is legal. You just have to do it the right way, right? There's legal ways to do these things, but you guys have to open your mind to the opportunities that are in the market. Because remember in Bold, we talk about the reticular activating system, the RAS. When you set your mind to look for the opportunities will show up. But if you believe in your mind that 2021 and 2022's market was better than today, you're not going to see the opportunities, even though they're right in front of you. Because how long have I been talking about this VA assumption, for God's sakes, and how many of you have bought one?
Well, you said you were gonna send me the info.
We're waiting for you. Make sure.
Oh, wait on me, victims! I'm waiting on you before I start my life.
We want to see you fall first.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my grandkids, the reason I couldn't retire with any money is because Sean Moudry never called me back in 2024. The opportunities are right here. And here's the, you feel my passion, my energy?
Yeah.
What if I brought that to a buyer?
Helps.
Here's the,
What if I'm standing on the coffee table in Starbucks with my buyer presentation saying, you're an idiot if you don't buy today?
You just got 2 more customers.
Right?
You get a lot of views on your video for that.
I
There you
did,
go.
I just have one objection though, the subject to or owner carry that I am, I'm currently receiving on my listing it's incredibly below the already crazy low list price.
Uh-huh.
But they use the opportunity.
But that's the thing is my seller's not taking it. My seller's not.
Well, but maybe the guy down the street will.
And here's what you're missing, Kristen.
I got it. All right, buyer.
Oh, I'm gonna pick on you anyways. Because you're pulling this through your lens of your seller.
Okay, right.
And you're missing the entire opportunity that the other agent sees.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have sent you that offer if he wasn't getting them accepted. He gets the market. This other agent's going, I'm freaking doing deals over here. Right? And meanwhile, you're going, this doesn't work for my client, so it doesn't work at all.
Okay, got it.
It does work. Flip it around.
Yeah.
Take his strategy. Do that strategy. Find what's working in the market and do it. If you have a seller who's like, if I don't get 1.5 million for my house that's outdated, I'm not going to sell. Great, don't sell. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go do 30 deals over here with people that want to sell, people that have to sell, and buyers that want to buy.
It's a numbers game.
100%.
Okay, so next, market cycles. Here's what you have to talk about with your buyers. You got to talk about the market cycles. And you have to explain to them why right now is the best opportunity in their lifetime that they're going to buy. You look doubtful. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Even if I'm wrong, that's what I'm saying. I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I know what's happening right now. And this is the best opportunity that I can see right now to buy. Get it? But trust, you look doubtful. Motivation. Now, what do we talk about when we talk about motivation?
What's their motivating factor? Do they have to move? Or
I hate this word, Haley. I hate this word.
Why? It's spelled wrong, but okay.
Shots fired.
Just,
Tell me why.
When we say motivation, where do we feel like it comes from?
Tony Robbins.
That's
That's fair. That's fair.
It's like,
sure.
motivation is like saying to somebody, you got to be happy. Right? It's like, oh, you got to be happy. Where's your happiness? Do we instantly wake up? I don't. Happy. I do.
I can train you how to do that, Chuck.
Here's the word that we want to look for. I'm going to spell it wrong just on purpose.
Yes. Okay.
Inspiration. That's what we have to give our buyers. Inspiration. So when we say inspiration, what are we talking about?
What's motivating them to buy? Just kidding.
You nailed it. What did you say? Vision of what? Catch this. This is so important. Vision of
Their opportunity.
Future.
the future.
Nice.
Did I say right now in today's market, buying a house is going to be the greatest today? No. I said it's going to freaking create your retirement. It's going to fund your life. This property I bought, I'm going to lose money on every month. It's like a little alligator that's going to bite me in the ass every single month. But in 5 years, it's going to be cash flowing. In 10 years, it's going to be paid down. In 15 years, it's going to be paid off.
And we're twice as much.
And worth twice as much. And the whole time, I'm going to write off the interest rate and depreciate the asset, which is going to make me not pay taxes. So in the short term, it kind of sucks. I could buy something else. I could go on another vacation, right? But in the long term, future vision, it's inspirational. I'm not going to look back and go, damn, I regret buying that house. Have you ever looked back and regretted buying any house?
Yes, yes, I have.
I regretted selling them.
Right. That's awesome.
You already know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so inspiration is the next thing you have to do with your buyers. Inspiration is not going to come from within them. It's going to come from your energy.
Yeah.
It's going to come from your view of the market. Okay? That's where that inspiration comes from. Talking to Julie, like I was talking to Julie this morning. We had a meeting this morning. Top year, right? Top year. She's happy as hell. She's like, oh, it's great. Selling houses. No wonder she's so busy. Who wouldn't want to work with an agent who's inspired and excited about what's going on in the market? Yes, there's tough things that are outside of our control, right? Opportunities.
Wait a second, question. On inspiration, where's that line, or how do you prevent yourself from being like so inspired that you're salesy? I have one client where I'm pretty sure she blocked me because I'm like, listen, it is the best time in the next 10 years, or in the past 10 years, this is your opportunity time, and I'm trying to transfer that emotion, and she's not catching the bug. Do you know what I mean?
Then move on.
Next.
We are.
Yeah.
Read the room. Read the room. Like who you're talking to, if they're really just not vibing with you, read the room. Like get that one.
I think questions are important too.
Or-
Sometimes you're talking too much and you're not
Right.
finding out what
Yes.
what will inspire. Will it inspire you to own 4 duplexes or just 4 trailers?
Or I've got some really good opportunities coming up. I'm just curious, are you still interested in moving forward?
Or you can go with the stories. You can say, oh, I know this agent that just did super well. You know, you can give a story.
Thank you guys.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
I would say don't be afraid to be salesy. Look, if you're not salesy, if you're not salesy, I get it. It's a struggle. And I remember one time I met with one of my mentors, and I had changed my business card to say real estate expert. And he said, why did it say real estate agent or real estate? And I said, well, I'm not an agent. I know, right? I know. And here's the funny thing is I met with him. This guy owned 1,000 rental properties, 1,000 doors in Denver. Okay. And he just wrote a book on how to become a successful real estate agent for new agents. He wrote a book on this. Meanwhile, I was probably top 100 agents in the nation at the time. And I had just wrote a book called Financial Freedom in 5 Years, Your Guide to Real Estate Investment. We're trading the book at Applebee's. He's going to read my book, I'm going to read his, we're going to critique, and then it's going to go to the publisher, right? He never sold real estate, not at a high level. I owned 5 rental properties. He owned 100. He wrote the book on being a real estate agent. I wrote a book on being a real estate investor. Stupid, right? So he says to me,
That's just trade titles.
he said, right, I know. He says to me, why didn't you write a book on being a real estate agent? He goes, you're the most successful agent I know. Why didn't you write a book on that? I said, I don't want to be seen as a salesperson. Here's what he said. What would your life look like if you embraced that instead of pushed it away? You are who you are. You are, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're a doctor, you got to show up looking like a doctor, talking like a doctor, right? Or you're not a doctor. It's pretty much that easy.
There isn't anyone that everyone likes.
Oh yeah.
There isn't anyone that everyone likes.
We learned that quote this week. Sean taught us. So third piece, you got to talk to your buyers about market cycles. Yes, the markets go up, they go down. It's like a bicycle wheel going on a hill. It's like going up, it's going down, but it's always progressing up. Yes, right now might not be the ideal time for value. Yes, like this property I bought, I paid $415. It's probably going to drop to $385 before the market corrects. That's my prediction. I'm going to lose money over the next 24 months on this property. Okay? I'm not selling it in 24 months. I don't care. Right? I don't care. It's a bicycle wheel going up a hill. 5 to 10 years from now, my long-term projection based on appreciation is I'll be positive. The goal is to pay it off in 15 years. That's the number one goal, right? Inspiration is our stories that we're telling, the opportunities in the market, and then we have to talk about those opportunities. What are the opportunities today that weren't opportunities in 2020? Some of these we talked about.
Offering less for property.
Yeah, negotiating less. Okay, so how about some stories on that? Who's got the best negotiation story? Hi, Annie.
I don't know if it's negotiation, but I'm $25,000 under ask price, right, under contract right now.
25,000 off.
And you're listing or your buyer?
Buyers.
We're talking about. That's because she's got a great agent.
Yeah.
I proposed one where, it wasn't off the price, but we got a new roof, a new sewer line, and a new electrical panel.
New roof. Sewer line.
The next thing
And $25,000.
It's the next thing I have to negotiate.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys have heard about the lawsuits going on right now where buyers are suing their agents for having them write as-is contracts. Buyers are suing agents right now for having them write as-is contracts.
What was that about 2021?
So tell me again how 2021 was better?
Or appraisal gap.
Or appraisal gaps. Yeah, they're getting sued for appraisal gaps. You advised me to pay too much for this property and to buy it as is. I found out that there's sewer damage and there's structural damage. You're supposed to protect me as my buyer's agent. You advised me incorrectly. I lost money on suing you. And guess what? They're winning.
Like people that didn't do an inspection?
Because their agent advised them not to do it.
They signed an inspection waiver.
You still sued.
You know how you protect your butt there? Against my recommendation.
Yeah. But these are. But tell me again how 2021 was a better market.
That's my recommendation.
Because those lawsuits didn't come out until 2024. You got out of the market early.
So what are some more stories? Negotiation stories.
I had 30 grand under asking.
So
I had 30 grand under asking, all new appliances and $10,000 towards rate buy down.
Wow. Okay, what sales price? What sales price?
Listed at 380, closed at 350.
Wow. That's almost 12% off. Okay. Okay, so you notice Haley and I are rocking kicks, right? We're on this Nike bandwagon. I saw this morning the black and red Nikes popped up on my TikTok. 10%, no, 20% off.
You're on TikTok, Sean?
Oh, yeah.
This guy has a TikTok problem.
Now, I'll tell you, normally they're pretty pricey.
Yeah.
A discount of 20% had I not been driving.
What about two pair?
I'd have bought a pair.
So what was the negotiation on that?
I'm just saying, this kind of stuff brings people out. These are the opportunities that create inspiration. Do you want to save 12%? Do you want to save 10% on a house? Yes.
I negotiated for my buyer to get a whole 2-car garage built. He still didn't take it.
Yeah.
That's kind of good.
I'm still mad about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Actually,
To be fair, Natalie's a beast.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. She's negotiating. She's doing it.
What other opportunities are in the market right now?
off market.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All for-
3.1.
Tell us how did you come
So,
across
I was going to list it, and the house needs a lot of work. And, the neighbors came over while we were looking at it. The neighbors said, well, we want to buy it. I said, well, it looks like we're gonna probably price it, around 3.5 or 3. We didn't know at the time. And the neighbors said, well, we definitely want to buy it. So went back to the seller. So the neighbors want to buy it as is. The deck's falling apart, everything. It hasn't been lifted for a long time. It needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so, good deal. We're under contract right
Off
now
market.
for just a little over 3.1 off market. They have a $7 million house, and they're buying the next door house for 3.1 for the daughter.
Yeah.
So those.
That's happening on a lot of charity.
I feel sick.
We have a lot of charity. $2.5 million. It's the neighbors just buy it because they know they're leaving. The estate, it's an estate sale. They're gonna just buy it.
So did you get in on that opportunity?
We're still working on that.
Yeah, these are massive opportunities, right? Like, how many properties in the last recession traded off market Like in the last recession, how many traded off market that never even hit the MLS? A lot. It's probably a third.
Wow. I think we're gonna see a lot more than that now.
Yeah.
Because of all the changes with the MLS regarding compensation, that sort of thing. Personally, what do you think?
Oh, totally. Oh, I think we already are. We're just not seeing it. If you look at the number of transactions in the MLS, I don't think that's a good reflection of what's going on. Okay. So off market, let's talk about what are off market deals. Let's list them. There's 9 off market properties. You all should have this in your pocket because when you're at an open house and a buyer says, oh, I'm just looking, this one doesn't really fit. Then you can say, are you interested in properties that are not in the MLS? Right? Or are you working with an agent? They say, yeah, and you go, oh, do you have a signed contract? Because the reason I'm asking is that I find properties for my clients that are not in the MLS, and oftentimes we can get them undervalued. But if you're already signed with an agent, I can't share that with you.
Say that one more time, a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Everybody? Ready?
Are you working with an agent? Don't pause. You don't want them to respond. Because if you're not working with an agent, what I do is I look for properties that are off the market, where oftentimes you can get them for less money or better deal. But if you're working with an agent, I can't help you. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
You think I do good at open houses? I'm horrible. I'll do it.
You gotta get you more coffee.
But you gotta be like, now, that being said, you're at an open house. There's nothing wrong with having the list of all the off-market properties to be able to say, okay, I'll be out of here at 4 o'clock. If you want to go see this house, I can show it to you this afternoon. I'll reach out to the seller. Okay, 9 sources of off-market properties.
Like where they get the information, where you get the listing from?
I agree with what you said.
For sale by owner.
Sources of off-market properties.
For sale by owner.
This both. Yep.
Investors. Expired.
Specifically, what does investors mean? What do you mean?
If you have some investors in your back pocket that have done a flip.
Well, let's say you're in a neighborhood, a good sized neighborhood, 1,500 home neighborhood. You have somebody who shows up at your open house. They're interested. There's not a ton of inventory for sale in the neighborhood. They don't like your open house. And you say, are you interested in off market? They say yes. In that neighborhood, I'm looking for a home. You can call them the FSBOs. So when you say investors, what do we mean? It's specific there.
Oh, in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
LLCs?
How do you find them?
Absentee owner?
That's a different one. Absentee owner, yeah. You can pull the list of the properties where their mailing address doesn't match the address of the property. It's not owner occupied, not owner occupied. Those are investors. Right? So investors. And then you said VRBOs and rental properties for rent, right? Those of you that are investors, you put your house up, you got a for sale sign in front of it. How many times you get an agent that calls you and says, hey, if I brought you an offer, would you look at it? Would you look at it? Sure, of course you would. I don't have to paint it, clean it. I'll look at your offer, say, well, what else? There's those investors. Expired. And when we say expired, go back 4 or 5 years in that neighborhood. If they have their house listed 5 years ago, they still might be interested in selling it.
I have a good story on an expired sale for a buyer. And a buyer that wanted a house in this particular neighborhood. There were only expired listings or no listings. So I called the expired listing.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a hold of him, so I called the agent who was not signed with them anymore. told the agent, I've got a buyer, they definitely want a house in this neighborhood, that house looks really good. So she called the seller, and the seller agreed to do a short-term listing with her. We wrote an offer, we got it, and it was accepted, and they got a house, everything they wanted, with no competition. So,
2020 hindsight, would you have gone and knocked on the door so you could have gotten both commissions?
I wonder, because she was on the do not call list.
Can you knock on the door? Can you knock?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't know where the seller lived because the seller
Wasn't.
it was a big house. It was a big house. It was in Parker.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I just thought, well, why not call the agent? So this seller really hates me. I said, well, maybe if you told them that you had a buyer, they'd be okay with you. And so she did. Yeah, she. Yeah.
amazing
So
how it
anyway, that's a
It
really
does,
good
right?
story. So try that. Like if there's a house that's expired and you don't want expired listing.
Great job. I love that. I'm looking for something, but in the meantime, what else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's more. Social media communities.
I'm just curious how you market off market besides word of mouth.
I would put those on.
Did you say foreclosures?
Foreclosures, thank you.
That is a good one, yeah.
Hey, what else?
It would be.
Obituaries. It's true.
That's a good angle.
It's true. How do you find obituaries inside of a neighborhood? That's what I understand. How do you find obituaries inside of a neighborhood?
Chase the hearse.
No, seriously, you're in a neighborhood, remember, because let's keep.
Talk to the social, most social person in the neighborhood. How about having other holding,
Estate sales.
Estate sales.
State sales. Here we go.
Isn't there clients to call you if they see like
Somebody said, right? Those aren't always in the MLS, right? New construction, fix and flips, right? People that are doing repairs in the neighborhood on their property, that could be new construction. What do I mean by local connections? This one's powerful. You have an agent, you have a client who's interested in a property in this 1,500 home market.
you're a client in there, you call them and say, you know anyone who's selling it?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can call your clients, other homeowners you know, you could door knock. What about pulling a search, an MLS search of all the sales that happened in the past year, sorting it top down from the from the agent's name and seeing who sold the most properties? An agent that specializes in a neighborhood probably has an idea of other properties that are coming to market. Right? I bought 2 houses from Joe DeVito that way. Because I know he specialized in West Urbana. I knew the neighborhood I wanted to be in. I called him and I said, hey, do you have anything? One time was a house that wasn't on the market, bought it as a rental. And the other one was for my personal house. He had a deal that was falling through. And he says, this guy's going to back out. Write me an offer at this price and I'll kill this deal and I'll put you in first place. Done it. That guy bought the house next door to me and hated me for 7 years.
That's not the point in your dog.
That is not the one that hit my dog with a rake.
I dare somebody.
Bank-owned are properties that are foreclosed, that are owned by the bank. That's public record. You can pull that off the county record. HUD homes, same thing. You could go to the HUD home website, search in there, see if there's properties. Government auctions. What do I mean by government auctions?
Counties auction them up.
The county's going to auction them off. That's for rent, investor owned. That includes VRBO, Airbnb, and for rent. Okay, so you got to look up Airbnb, VRBO, see if there's a property available in those neighborhoods. Right, call them up. Hey, if I brought you an offer, you'd be interested in selling. Now, put these opportunities in front of a buyer. We inspire them that this is the best time to buy a house, and we teach them about the market cycles. How's this buyer feel? How do they feel about you? You're doing your job, you're working hard, right? Okay, now we're shifting. Now we're shifting into meeting with them about signing an agency agreement with us. Okay? We're asking them to commit to work with us. Now, here's why I'll halt with this whole thing. It's absolutely no different than a listing presentation. We have a process that we follow from a psychological standpoint with a listing presentation. If we follow that same psychology with the buyer, our results are going to be better. Not perfect. It will be better. Not perfect. A lot of you think you're going to get 100% of your buyer agency signed. What is the average?
75.
No. What?
5%.
No.
60.
No.
35%.
No. Well, but we'll get back to that.
42.5.
In the past, it's been about 55%. In the past, KWRI is predicting 30 to 35% moving forward.
Yikes.
30 to 35%. That's their predictions.
Of buyers signing an agency because they say that because they're gonna have to pay if the seller doesn't pay.
Well, because what does it do instantly?
That's
It commits them. Are you a real buyer or not? So instead of like finding out after you showed them 15 houses, and then they tell you, I already signed another lease, you're just finding out at that initial presentation, is this somebody who's gonna have the wherewithal to get through this or not? Okay? So they're just saying it's gonna go from 55% because it's easy to sign something if there's no commitment to pay. Okay, it's not gonna cost me anything to outsign it here, whatever. Let's go look at houses. But then I don't end up buying, right? It's easier to do that than it is to commit to somebody up front that, yes, I'm going to buy, and if I buy, I'm gonna buy from you. That's the only thing that's shifted. Do you agree?
Yeah.
To the level. There are some people that are still building trust. We're gonna talk about that. Okay. You're at the presentation, you're meeting with them. In a listing presentation, Julie, I'm gonna pick on you. In a listing, what's the first thing you do when somebody says, I want to meet with you about listing my home? What's your first thing you're gonna do? I'm gonna erase this.
Where's your home at?
Okay, what do we call that?
pre-qual.
Right, you're gonna pre-qual. Now, do you interrogate them over the phone?
I usually do.
Do you? Yeah.
Yes, because I wanna know when I get there what they think it's going to sell. I learned that goal a long time ago. You find out what they think it's worth. And even if they say, oh, well, I want you to come price it, I've had people do that. And I say, well, I'm sure you look at Zillow and what do you think? And they always say, well, we want to get 1.6 for it. We want to get this. So then I know when I'm going there, like what they want. And so I can
You're
how to
gonna be on this side, so you're in the camera.
She's in the camera, I can see it.
This camera. He's not in our social media director is missing our guest speaker because I'm speaking to him.
I like it the way it is. Let's keep this going.
Okay, then pivot the camera. Control that thing. Okay. So you heard Allie. Allie has a very high pre-qual. Sorry, I do that all the time. I've known you both for so many years too. How do I mess that up? You have a very high qualification. Now, why would Julie have a very high qualification?
She doesn't wanna waste her time.
Because of what?
Busy.
Time's money.
She's busy.
Time to
Here's how you determine your value to the market. Take your commissions that you made in the last 12 months, divide it by 52, divide that by 40, that's your hourly rate. That's your current value to the market. Julie's value to the market is extremely high, okay?
Should write that.
If your value to the market is lower, you're gonna have a lower threshold on your pre-qual because here's from a coaching perspective, you need to go on more appointments than Julie does to learn the objections, overcome those objections. Julie doesn't need to learn how to overcome those objections. She's got that down. So her pre-qual is gonna be high.
I've learned.
I know, but your pre-qual is gonna be higher than somebody who, because if you come into the market with very few sales and you think you're God's gift to real estate and you over pre-qual on the phone before your appointment, you're gonna leave money on the table. Is that fair? Yeah. If Julie doesn't waste time, she's not gonna leave money on the table. There's a different perspective. Okay, it's like a range. Is that fair? Okay, perfect. I love it. Okay, Haley, what's pre-qual questions that we ask a buyer before we go on an appointment?
Hey, Sean, can you write down that formula first? That you just talked about?
Hourly wage.
Well, you're brand new. It's zero.
It is zero.
Not for long. Not for long. Hey, sir.
I'm not saying the past 12 months.
I do have one appointment tomorrow, just to let you know.
Let's go.
Another one this weekend. However, Sean, when I am making a shit ton of money, what's the formula?
12 months. Commission divided by 52 divided by 40 hours. And that's your hourly rate.
So make $100,000 a year, you're at $48 minimum.
Yep. Now, what is your goal? What hourly rate do you want to be at?
At least above minimum pay.
400 an hour.
How much?
400 an hour.
So how much is that?
That's where you want to be.
Matt, how much is that?
Well, here's the secret to it though, is once you apply leverage, you will be. As an independent agent, it's really hard to achieve.
Just don't work that much.
Okay.
So how much is that yearly, just for
All right.
$1 million?
I'll just stick it down there. Okay, pre-qualification questions.
Should be
So
close.
I asked if they spoken to a lender.
Have you spoken to a lender?
100,000 times 10.
Okay. Have you spoken to a lender? What else?
In a perfect world, what does their payment look like?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
Amen.
Why'd you decide to buy? What's your motivating factor?
Mm-hmm. What's your motivating factor?
Yeah, how'd you decide?
Here's the hard part about motivation over a phone. There's very low trust over the phone.
Yeah.
Whatever they tell you, is probably not the truth. Okay, you're gonna get a smoke screen right there. I don't have to buy. I'm not in a rush. That's a smoke screen. Ignore it, right?
I don't do this over the phone. I either have a Zoom with you or I get you in my office. One of the two.
Are you presenting? Okay, so if we go back to the listing process, because this is what I'm saying is, let's treat this just like a listing. Pre-qualification, presentation, contract. Pre-qualification could be at the open house, right? It could be at a dinner party. It's quick.
Yeah.
Right?
What area do they want to live in?
Everything? Yeah.
Time frame. Time frame. Then kind of follow up with why, with the motivation. And then, so how soon are you trying to meet that goal?
Time frame? Yeah.
Are you guys gonna talk about objections in a little bit?
We are.
And we only have 20 minutes left, so.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna do a light. It's a light pre-qual, not a heavy pre-qual, not combative, do not disagree with anything they do. Because again, trust is low, they're smoke screening, they're repositioning, they're holding their cards back, right? And then when they build trust with you, all the skeletons fly out, right? Right? Like all of a sudden they're like, oh.
Get divorced, got a girlfriend.
Just bought a car.
Presentation. Okay. Presentation. Who has a formal buyer presentation that they go to? You?
I do.
You want to share?
Well, I don't want to share it
No.
because I don't have a copy of it.
Well, tell us about it. What is it?
Well, I walk my potential clients through the whole buying process, and I do it very casually. So I'm sitting down with them, having casual conversation at first, and then walking them through the process to make sure that they understand each step. And then I'm touching on specific things. I find out when I talk about earnest when you're down payment, that's where it's revealed to me. Oh, well, I don't this, I might have this. Well, like I find out what they're working with through the conversation. They don't understand that they're getting a buyer presentation. So when you say walk through the process, what are your bullet points? Every step. So from talking to a lender, to earnest money, down payment, out-of-pocket costs,
Inspection.
essentially inspection. I tell them on the back end, I'm taking care of a lot of things like if there's an HOA, I'm making sure we get the documents to review them. I'm making sure, title, we receive title, we review all that sort of thing. I walk them through everything, every single step.
Contingencies, steps, the most important thing on walking them through the money, a lot of buyers, even if they have bought before, they don't know the current process. And yes, it changes from time to time. The steps change. Like it used to be 20 years ago, you met with the lender first, and at the lending appointment, you wrote the lender a check for $800 for the appraisal and for your credit fees at the appointment. Lenders figured out that that wasn't fun, and so they stopped requiring that up front. So the process changes. So when you say to a buyer, you're going to need 20% down, or 5% down, or 15,000 down, some buyers think that they have to wait to have that money in their pocket before they can write the contract. They don't realize that they can save and come up with that money over the next 35, 45 days, as long as they have that money at closing, right?
And it also helps me determine how serious, like they've met with me, they're serious. That's how I know. But I give them an idea of what they're gonna need out of pocket, like he said, which gives them the time to make that plan. And you see them start having that conversation. Okay, well, we can do that.
Yeah. So what else do you go through?
Literally, I go through the entire buying process and I'm having a casual conversation with them at the same time, listening for those, I forget what I call them. Clues, like triggers, conversation triggers or questions, where you're like, hey, okay. Oh, well, I don't have 20% down. Who told you you need 20% down? You don't need that. And then I talk them through, I know it's a concern for them. I talk them through that. And then that's how I find out, are they gonna need down payment assistance?
Yeah.
All while I'm taking notes.
And I will share this with you all. I just finished this. And by the way, who all went to the business planning clinic that was taught by Gene Rivers? Did you go to? Oh, my mind. Dude. So one of the things he said is you have to have a 2025 guide for helping buyers buy homes, right? So what I did is I went and I ripped off Gary Keller's, right? Created my own, but then I added in some points that are relevant to today's market because it's the 2025 guide, right? So, and I'm happy to share this with you, but reason to decide to buy, things you need to think of when you're selecting an agent, questions to interview an agent, securing your financing, right? Down payment, interest rates, terms, criteria, down payment conversation, interest rate conversation, what a term is, and then this is the 4-square exercise. So this is where we talk about what is the price that you want? What is the price or payment? What is your location? What is your features? 3-bed, 2-bath, garage. What's your down payment? This is the one that you fill out with them. And then when you show them a couple times and they can't find what they want, you whip this out and you say, look, I can get you 3 of the 4, but I can't get you all 4. Which one of these are you willing to be flexible on? Okay. This overcomes the whole buyers as liars. Buyers aren't liars. Buyers think they know what they want until they see the market and then they redetermine what they want. This is the conversation. Well, I thought I wanted to be in 80228, but now that I look, I'm open to going to this area or this area or whatever. Or you could say, hey, I can get you a 3-bed, 2-bath that's 20 years old with a 2-car attached garage, but I can't get it for you in Lakewood. Are you open to me showing you some areas where you can get that? I'm going to only ask you one thing. You cannot ask me where we're going until we get done.
We're very different.
Well, yeah, how do you do it then?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, so obviously this is his version. This is his buyer guide. Riley's made mine. After I had it completed, I realized there's a lot of other things that I do want to add in there, which is why I don't have them. But for me, that's more or less something that I leave them with. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm having a full-on casual conversing with these people, okay? Because I want them to feel comfortable with me.
Is it a process or is it kind of like?
I'm guiding the conversation.
But are you following a process in your head?
The buying process.
Okay. See, I need something like this to follow. Like my listing presentation, I have a PowerPoint still. I've done probably 3,000 listing presentations. I still use a PowerPoint. I will be talking about the freaking maple tree in the back.
But that's fair, you need that, and that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Case in point, everybody has their own style of doing things.
I know.
I was gonna say, I do like a combo because I like what Sean has because then you can leave that and have them read everything in case they forget later. But I do I think it's 10 slides for a PowerPoint that takes them through the process and it doesn't say everything on there because it's a guided conversation, but there's a way to do both, I think.
Well, even like those home buyers that are on marketing KWA, she can customize them. She's got specific pages for me and
Totally.
like.
Just have
I love those
something,
guys.
master
They're
something.
awesome.
Yeah.
So the reason I want to whip this out is, here's where we start talking about the value that we provide as an agent. Okay, because this is where I think we're missing it. The difference between a buyer presentation of 6 months ago was kumbaya. Let's go arm in arm and skip through the yellow brick road to buying a house, right? But now it's not like that. Now it's like, hey, we're going to go through this process, but at the end, I'm going to get paid and you're going to get a house, right? And they're going, well, who's going to pay you? Well, I need you to help me negotiate for my fee or you're going to be liable for my fee. By the way, on this assumption, I have a buyer's agent and he charged me 3.5%. And I gladly paid it. Okay. It's okay if there's value to the customer. In the absence of value, price is always going to be your pushback. So if you have people saying, I'm not comfortable signing your contract, it's your presentation. 100% it's your presentation. You agree?
No.
That's why I love this stuff.
I don't agree.
Let me run through this now. I'm gonna get
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's the value presentation that I put together. Number one, determine the houses you want to see. Well, I'm going to put you on a drip and you're going to get the MLS properties. I'm going to be looking for these properties for you. Okay. I'm going to be looking off market. You're going to be looking at the ones on the market, but I need you to work with me because if you see something that I didn't see, I need you to contact me and let me know because I'm going to be looking at off market properties. What does this prevent? What's the number one complaint buyers have?
That they found their own property.
They found their own properties because you emailed it to them and they happened to click on the link. But all of a sudden they found it, right? Or they saw it on Zillow and you didn't see it because you had them on a search in Lakewood and they looked in Roxborough, right? So work with me. I'm going to be looking off market. You're going to be looking on market and together we're going to work together. But I also need you to be open-minded. Because there might not be what you're looking for in the market, the way it's going to show up for you. And we might need to revisit the Foursquare to determine those properties that you need to have. Here's how we're going to set up viewing homes. What we're going to do is we're going to look at expensive repairs while we're previewing the homes, and then we're going to make an offer. The rest of the presentation goes through the process of making an offer. To Haley's point, time frame and money are their two most important things. What has to happen when and when is it going to cost me? Those are two different timelines. Go over them separately, right? So that goes through this, the final walkthrough, the closings, and congratulations, you're a homeowner. Now, is that value? Okay. Then you talk commission and price.
Then you talk commission and price.
Then you talk commission. Yeah. Commission
Well, at that point, you're kind of shifting over to you're just reviewing the exclusive, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So
Does that sound good?
Do you do it differently than that? Or is it similar?
It's similar.
Yeah, similar.
Then I'll just shift over to the exclusive right and, so let's review our agreement.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we see when you come up to commissions.
Let's do it.
Oh. Well, for me,
let's role play. You
I
pitch
don't want to role play with you. You're on level 12 right now. Sean, I don't, wait, so this says, I'm gonna be the buyer. I'm gonna be the buyer and you be the level 12 agent right now. So this all sounds great. It sounds great. So
Hold on, I'm gonna mirror and match.
this all sounds great, Sean. I'm really excited about this. However, I still don't understand how do you get paid?
So that's a great question. I appreciate that. Well, have you heard about the changes that have happened recently in the real estate commission?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it. From what I understand, it sounds like buyers have to pay their agents. I guess I don't understand it.
Well, in fact, it has always been this way. The difference today than it was before is buyers have always been responsible for paying the commission. However, sellers used to be able to advertise that they're offering a commission. Today, that's no longer the case.
So how does that?
That easy setup, right? It hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is the ability to advertise it.
But I still don't understand how that affects me.
So here's the deal, is if you're comfortable working with me, do you feel like I'm the right agent who will help you find your home?
I think so.
That's really important to close that, or I'm the best agent before you talk money. If they say no, or I'm thinking about it, or I don't know, go back to your presentation. Where did you miss in your presentation before you talk price? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, so after we went through everything, do you feel like I'm the right agent to help you find your home?
I do.
Okay, great. So let me tell you this, we're not gonna let commissions hold this up. We're gonna figure out a way to make this happen for you. In order for me to effectively negotiate the commission, for me to get paid, it's really 3 ways that we can do this. One is you can just agree to pay me, and then we're just gonna negotiate your offer with the seller based on sales price, no commissions involved at all. Because you're gonna agree to pay me. That's one way. True? Start with the worst way first, right? Like just juxtaposition. So in this case, you're looking at what?
Can we just stop?
Yeah.
Bro, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Sorry, never thought of it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Start with start the one nobody wants to do, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, when somebody like a listing agent asks or a seller asks, "What's my commission?" I say the highest legally allowable by law.
Yeah.
Of course, because I want a juxtaposition, right? If I come in low, if I present great value and my price is here, what's the problem? What do they think? Something's wrong. What did I miss? Why is this a Ferrari presentation with a Geo Prism price? Right? Is this a fake Ferrari? Right?
Yeah.
So when I say, here's my value, here's my price, it lines up. And then they'll say, but for you, we're going to go here. So all I did there was juxtaposition the same way to say, the worst thing that could happen is you're going to pay me a commission, and $600,000. My fee is 3%, so that would be $18,000.
Oh, Sean, I don't have $18,000.
I know, because you want to make sure we want to put your money towards the down payment and closing costs.
Absolutely.
I understand that. So another way that this could work, Haley, is that the seller might be offering a commission, but they can't advertise it. So what we'll do is we're going to write it into the offer that the seller's going to pay the commission. Okay. In order for me to do that legally in Colorado, I need you to agree that if they want, that you're going to be obligated to pay in order for me to negotiate it in. And I know that's a scary thing to think about, but just understand you won't be obligated to pay me anything unless we have a separate conversation about that first.
I don't want to pay you.
I don't want you to pay me. I don't
You know
want
what,
you
Sean,
to
I
pay
really like you, but that part makes me really nervous. So,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to start looking at houses, but if you're telling me that I have to sign something, ultimately agreeing to pay you potentially $18,000, which we've already discussed I don't have,
Yeah.
then, I'm not comfortable signing anything.
Yeah, I understand. So let me ask you, are you committed to buying a house?
I am.
Okay, so if you don't sign a contract if you don't pick an agent to represent you at all, or is your plan to go negotiate with the seller directly without an agent?
Possibly.
Okay, that's good. Do you think that agent's gonna help you negotiate, or are you gonna negotiate on your own?
I would imagine they would help me negotiate considering, we're going to save the seller tons of money.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe. You might help them.
I imagine that I'm going to save money because I don't have to pay for my agent. And since they're not paying for my buyer agent, then it's just going to save the seller tons of money.
Yeah, however, don't you think the seller believes that they're trying to save themselves money? So if you're trying to save money, they're trying to save money. Who actually saved money?
Well, the seller's going to save money because they're not paying for a buyer agent.
And you think that's going to pass to you, or you're just going to pay more for the house?
Well, I just think that it'll pass. Good question. I think I'd be able, since I'm not having to pay for an agent, I don't have to worry about it, and the seller's not paying for a buyer agent, I think I have a better opportunity getting the property.
So if they're saving money and you're saving money, how does that work? Somebody's losing money.
It's not me.
You both can't be saving money. let me ask you this. Of the presentation that we went through, where we talk about off-market properties and the ability to negotiate for you, do you believe that there's a benefit of having any agent represent you? Because that's an interesting question. Think about that. If they don't believe that any agent can help them, that's a different conversation than
Definitely.
paying. That's like the FSBO conversation. Are you opposed to paying a commission, or are you opposed to working with any agent? Right? That's the FSBO conversation. If they're like, I hate real estate agents, I'm never going to work with them. That's a different objection handler than I don't want to pay commission. Right? Because right now, this is like a FSBO. She's FSBOing herself for buyer by owner. Right?
But this is happening.
It is happening.
This is happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So do you believe any agent could help you save money by buying your home?
I mean, I guess that just depends on their experience.
So what if I told you this? What if I made this deal with you? Now think about this with the seller, we do this all the time, right? This is where I was saying, we got to just treat these like a seller. If I can save you X, will you pay me Y? Right? So if I can save you, if I can show you that I can save you $30,000 to $45,000, would it make sense to pay me 18?
Essentially.
Okay. So let's have that agreement. Let's put that together. I will help you save I'll help you save $30,000 or more. And if I don't, you don't have to pay me 18. We'll agree at a lesser amount. Do that with sellers, right?
I think that's a little complicated, but we're gonna know.
We do it with sellers. I do it with sellers all the time. I sign that agreement.
How are you going to quantify that, Sean?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
A little more difficult.
What did we just talk about on here? We just talked about the ability to negotiate prices down. I would find them ways to negotiate on their inspection, find ways to save them money on their appraisal, negotiate with their mortgage broker, find them undervalued properties, all of those things. At the end of the day, our clients want to see us working. That's what they want. They don't mind paying for it if they feel you earned it. It's when you didn't earn it.
Or it's when they don't have the money either. When they don't have it.
Yeah.
Either here.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If I don't save you $30,000 or more, we'll reduce the commission to $10,000. What's the problem with that? Is there a problem with that?
Yeah, you just gave away $8,000.
Maybe.
How do you show that you saved 30,000 or more? Unless you negotiated a $600,000 house for $550. I'm having a hard time getting my head around you quantifying $30,000.
50. Do the math.
But what if you just said, if you can't get them to pay the full 18,000, you'll reduce it to such and such.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing.
Yeah. I was being extreme. Let me ask Julie. Julie, you go on a listing appointment. This is a safe room, right? It's a safe room. You got a seller who's ready and willing and able to sell. You got a great property that's saleable, okay? You present your commission. They say, I'm not paying that. What are you willing to go to for that listing?
It depends.
Okay. Will you list it in just seller side, 3%?
I might,
2%?
if we price it right,
2%?
no. Yeah.
You so lied.
Right, yeah.
You just took one at 1.3 today at 2%. Of course you're gonna do it for 2%. That's freaking $22,000. If you don't take a listing for 2% for $22,000, I'll kill you, Mike. I'll kill you myself.
But not if
Yes, you'll do it.
if you're a crazy seller, maybe.
Let me ask you this. You have a $400,000 listing.
Yeah.
Okay, 3% is $12,000. You got a $1.2 million listing. 1%'s $12,000. Will you take the listing at 1%? You better answer yes. I will freaking kill you all. Here's the rules. Always do your presentation. Always ask for your full price of commission, and always get that stupid listing signed. If it's ready, willing, and able to sell, get it signed. Why is it for a buyer?
It's not.
It's not. It's not. Guys, we only make money when we sell something. I don't know about you, but I don't get paid for drinking coffee. Sure. You only get paid when you sell something. Sell something. I signed a builder, I listed their houses for $475. At 80-something listings. All renderings, not a freaking stick in the yard, all cartoon houses, $475 a house. They went in the MLS, that's all I did, $475.
So the moral of the story
Is do deals.
Make
Do
money.
deals. Make it happen. Do your presentation, provide your value, get the deal figured out.
But the
Right.
question is what happens if they don't want to sign an agreement with you first?
That is a question. So
You did
we've talked about this. What's the pivot?
What is your if somebody says, I'm not comfortable to sign anything before I see a few homes with you, what do you do?
Personally, I'd show them homes. That's what I would do. Now, in Colorado, you can do that. We verified this.
It is not state law to have something in writing before to show homes. Okay, it is, however, a requirement through the MLS.
MLS
And-
part, yeah.
Yes, but being covered through the NAR settlement. Okay, it is best practice in our industry and with our brokerage to do everything you can to get that agreement signed, because guys, this protects you and it does protect your client. So it's important that you make them feel safe and comfortable and all the things, but make them understand that this is a tool so that you can get to work for them and advocate for them and do all the things for them, like check the zoning on something on a property that's located behind the house they want to buy. People don't do that for free. We don't want to work for free. We don't want to work without a commitment. How about that?
So legally, are there any risks to showing them properties without having buyer agency signed?
Well, not legally, from what I understand, from the position of the car attorney, and speaking with other leadership here, is that best practice is if somebody refuses to sign an exclusive right with you is to provide them with the brokerage disclosure to buyer. Now, what this document does is it's not an agreement. You can fill it out as a transaction broker, and it does state that how we get paid. It just fully discloses our relationship, you know, what kind of relationship we're working under, as well as how we get compensated. Okay, you can make that for a number of properties. You can reference the addresses that you're showing them. I would recommend doing that. Maybe say, okay, you know what? Fair. Let's date first, because maybe we're not a good fit. Let's figure this out. Like, I want to earn your trust. So how about we do this? I'm going to send you this disclosure. It's called the brokerage disclosure to buyer. It does outline that I'm working as a transaction broker. It does specifically state that this is not a contract. Okay. And it also does explain the way that I get paid. Okay. And with that being said, I email it to them. I have it documented that I emailed it to them. Should anybody come knocking,
Sign it,
yeah, even if they don't sign it, they don't sign it. It's not a legal and binding document. The reality is if they do sign it, you are now working as a transaction broker for them indefinitely anytime they call you.
Yeah, that was
Period.
that's the one drawback I've heard is that it's indefinite. There's no date of expiration that you potentially could be 2 years later that they haven't talked to you, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I want you to go show me this homes, and
You do
kind
wanna
of can be obligated.
Yeah, but you do want to be transparent. You do want to disclose, and you don't want to get caught up between, you know, Dora and anything else. So just to cover your butts.
Nothing we're saying here is to say to break the law.
Right.
No.
We're saying figure it out, work it out. Because here's the thing, is people are working it out. People are figuring it out. And we have a choice to either sit on the sidelines and lose these deals, or we can work it out, right? I don't think there's any reason why our conversion ratio should have to drop to 30%.
I agree.
I think it should maintain at least 50. So
What's wrong with saying
Gotcha.
this is what I've been saying, is, you know, maybe I had the buyer presentation over the phone because they're coming in from out of state. So buyers coming in, they picked out the houses they want to see, and then I say, okay, I just want to have one little discussion with you that we didn't have. Before my showing agent shows you that home, I do need to have a buyer agreement, right? And that's what I call it, the buyer agreement. And I send it to them through CTM, explain it to them, they've signed it every time.
I think that that's great.
So why not just do that? If you're, you know, you're talking to somebody about showing them a house, just say, hey, I really need to have you sign something and explain it to them. And even if it's just for that house.
Do they ever get hung up on the I'm obligated to pay you? That's the piece, is when they read that buyer is obligated to pay.
I explain it the way you explained it.
Can I
Yeah.
chime in a little?
Okay, seller's not paying, do you want me to let you know? And then, but we won't go to those houses if that's your choice.
Oh, okay, so did you hear that? Do you want, I'll call them, and if they won't pay, it's up to you, but we don't have to look at those houses. What were you gonna say, Tyson?
I was gonna say exactly that. I have not had a problem getting this signed. And I do explain to my clients why we fill out 3% or whatever the number is on the contract. And I tell them, however, I will work for what the buyer or the seller is paying up until a certain point. I mean, if they're going below 2, then, we're going to have a conversation, but I'm going to call on every single one of those houses. And you're going to know before we look at it what that seller is offering. And if you choose not to look at it, then that's your choice. Or we can talk about what it might look like if you want to go look at that house.
Sasha.
I kind of piggyback off of that.
Thank you, Tyson.
I tell my buyers, I won't let my fee get in the way of them getting the home that they want. It's point blank, this is what I charge, but if the seller's not offering to pay that, we'll have that conversation. But right now, we can assume that based on my negotiation skills, and trust me, I tell them, I'm negotiating the old city in Jerusalem. I can negotiate.
Wait, I thought you were all about win-win, kumbaya.
We're having a conversation like that.
It has to do with their pocketbook though.
I love that though. Based on my negotiation skills, I'll figure it out.
Right.
I'll negotiate it in.
There was a buyer was in a contract for he terminated. I'm still upset about it. That's a separate thing. I had written 2.8. The seller was offering 2.5, and I said, hey, if you want to accept this, I want to let you know right now, you don't have to make up that difference. And like, I was like the best person in the world to him.
Yeah.
Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I love that.
Who here has had this happen to them though, where somebody doesn't want to sign something before they see property? 3 people? 4 people? 5? It's happening, and it's getting more common. So brush up on your value prop. Understand your documents and get comfortable talking about it. Address the elephant in the room. I really like your approach, Sean, with bad news first. Hey, you can pay me.
Yeah.
Or we can do it this way.
Yeah.
What was the third option that you got to choose?
The third option is obviously they pay a portion and you pay a portion, which I had a seller who said, he said, as long as I'm under this price all in, I don't care. You can work it out however you want. And I was like, okay, perfect. So, no, he was a cash buyer buying for his daughter. So, so I ended up getting 2 from them and then 0.8 from him, and he paid it as his closing on his settlement statement. I kept him like $2,500 under his max on that specific property. He goes, I'll pay up to this on that property. So
who here would be open to having a role play partner and role playing for a week? This right here.
That's really good. That's a good thing.
I think we should do it. So if you're serious, when we end here, let's kind of group up and let's talk about it. Let's make it happen.
I want to revisit the beginning of the conversation though, because sales, and I know the S word, not everybody loves it, but sales is transfer of emotion. If I'm excited and I can create, inspiration in them, they're going to overcome their objections because they're excited to work with you and they want to work with you. If you're humdrum about the market and you're like, oh, this market's tough. Like the listing that we just got, literally the reason that we got the listing is I was like, oh, this is a great house. And yeah, we're not going to have a problem selling it. And she goes, the other agent said it was going to take 6 months. And I was like, well, I wouldn't hire her. Like, that's crazy. Right? So sales is transfer of emotion. So if you're not psyched up and excited about this market, that's going to show through, right? It's going to show through in your rate of speech, your tonality, your physiology, right? And if you overcome that early, I think the commission conversation's easy.
Well, if you have when you're explaining with confidence too.
Yeah.
That's everything. Because if they see that you're like, well, and you might have to pay me. I don't think I want to.
Some people think that we get salaries from photos.
That's true.
We really do have to explain to them. Yeah. Like if you give them something free, swag or whatever, they always think that, oh, your office gave you that. So you kind of have to educate them that you are an independent contractor. You're self-employed, and when you tell them that, then they understand.
What I say is, you think if Keller Williams owned this car, they would have bald tires? Broken window, stolen stereo, no, this is all mine.
They think that, you know, they think that our office pays for the home warranties whenever. And, you know, then you bring that up to them, I'm paying for that for you. And then I always make sure they know that. Because then when you're doing the next deal with them, or they're referring somebody to you, you just don't know what people's perception is. So you have to explain it to them.
We're 12 over. Thank you guys. Sorry we went long. We always do. You're used to it. You
What
guys.
do you allowed to say? Let's share. I didn't even really get to talk, so. Well, you were in the camera too.